Welcome to the Berklee Performance Center. Please take a moment to locate the nearest exit. In addition to the front doors of the theatre, emergency exits are located on the left and right of cross aisles in the orchestra and balcony. Please keep exits and aisles clear at all times, and do not leave bags or personal items unattended. At this time, we ask that you turn off all cell phones and other electronic devices for the duration of the event. Also, please note that audio and video recording and all photography is strictly prohibited in the theatre. Thank you for your cooperation and enjoy the show.
This summer I got to work in music and motion productions for Lucas Vidal, the composer, and it was some of the best days in my life. One of the things that I'm the happiest about is learning how to work with other people so that you can be as efficient as possible and really focus on the creative work on composing music for films, which is what I want to do. My advice to students who would be considering an internship experience would be to create the opportunity for yourself, not necessarily wait for a big studio to let you do coffee for them, but rather ask a composer you like and whose work you admire if they need help, and then tell them that you would probably work for free through academic credit, and then they'll be super happy and they might even hire you.
One of my favorite things about student government is, one, I get to work with so many students that I would not see on a day-to-day basis. So I get a lot of community building and learning about other people's experience here at Berklee. And I get a lot of skills with meeting with administrators and faculty members and knowing how to work with people who are higher up than me on the food chain. I would recommend being on Student Government Association because you get a real chance to have some control over your own educational experience and work together for the better of the students.
I went to Valencia, Spain for the first year abroad program. One of the main differences between Boston and Spain is Spain is a lot smaller of a campus, so I knocked out a lot of my core music stuff there. And when I came back to Boston, I was ready to get going with my major. I managed to make it to Barcelona and Seville while I was in Spain, and Granada. I traveled to London and Dover in England, and I also made it to Rome during Easter weekend. Phenomenal experiences, really, truly life-changing to be able to go to these places that I've always dreamed of going.
Girl, what you say? Now do you call that a sister?
One of the highlights of my year is the annual spirituals concert that the Black Student Alliance hosts, and that is sponsored by the Conservatory. We celebrate music from the African American culture, and it's a great opportunity to collaborate with other Black students to celebrate the richness of our history and culture. I appreciate the Conservatory for embracing that uniqueness and equipping me with the tools emotionally and musically to succeed and thrive in this industry that wasn't necessarily created for me, but has always encouraged me that I have a space and something important and unique to contribute given my history and my beautiful culture.
I took 4 years off out of high school. I wasn't sure if I was doing music because I really loved it or because it was just the thing that I was good at. So before I made that commitment, I wanted to be really sure that singing and performance was what I wanted to do. So I worked in non-music for a little while. Then I did a lot of theater and thought, well, could I do directing or set design or something like that? And I finally, after a few years, realized I really want to be on stage and I really want to give my dream a shot.
In my second semester here, I took one class on production and technology in the songwriting department. It was Ableton for Songwriters. And since then have fallen in love with the power technology has given me. And so I am now an electronic performer of my own music. It is a very male-dominated industry, especially the technologies and electronic performance and mixing and producing. And I found actually at Berklee, there are lots of women who are just doing new things because they've been told that they can't. And then they're given these resources and they learn so much, and then they can just do anything.
Hello, Berklee. Come on, let me hear it. Oh, come on. You can do much better than that. Orientation leaders, show them how it's done. Let's go. Hello, Berklee. That's better. Welcome, welcome, welcome to our Convocation celebration entitled Tell Your Story. My name is Dr. Chris Candace Fisher, and I am the Vice President of Student Affairs, Diversity, and Inclusion, and it is my great pleasure to welcome you once again to Berklee. This afternoon, you will see and listen to student performances where stories will be told through artistry. You will also hear from some amazing leaders at this institution who will share their inspirational stories. We hope that this program will then inspire you to create, build, reimagine your personal story. So let's not hold this up any longer. It's my absolute honor and pleasure to introduce to all of you a leader who inspires, creates, and leads the Berklee community to greatness. Please welcome to the stage our president, Roger Brown.
Hello, welcome everybody. Good to have you here. I'm Roger Brown, I'm the president. I'm in my 15th year, and it's just a really wonderful day to welcome students here who've for many years been dreaming of joining us. One of my mentors in higher education was the president of Tufts University, and then has gone on to become the president of Harvard University, Larry Bacow. And President Bacow likes to say that being a college president is like driving a bus through the mountains, where the students have their foot on the accelerator, the alumni have their foot on the brake, and the faculty keep trying to grab the steering wheel. But for me, it's great to have students here because I say pedal to the metal. Let's accelerate and make this the greatest place on earth to study music, dance, and theater. So let's do a little bit of, just a little bit of demographic review. We have students from virtually every state in the United States represented here in Boston Conservatory in Berklee. The state represented by the most students is California. Anybody here from California? Number 2 is Massachusetts. They're all upstairs. New York. They're usually louder than others. New Jersey. Florida. And we also have students from many other states, including South Dakota, West Virginia, Montana, Utah, Idaho. We also have 11 students from the Commonwealth of Puerto Rico who are joining us. 1/3 of you come from other countries around the world. And the country that has the strongest representation, and often our international students are a little more polite, so you can feel free to shout and cheer as well. The country most represented is China. Number 2 is South Korea, Canada, Mexico, the United Kingdom, and also represented are Lebanon, the United Arab Emirates, Iran, Serbia, Ethiopia, Egypt, Cyprus, Croatia, Panama, South Africa, and the Bahamas. And our best wishes go to those to our student from the Bahamas. We hope your family is okay with this hurricane that's hitting. The Boston Conservatory hit a new record high with 22% of its students from other countries as well. So one of the homework assignments I would give you is find someone from one of these other countries and get to know them, get to know their music, their culture. And one great thing is when you graduate, if you want to travel around the world, if you've been a friendly student, you have lots of nice people you can stay with. I'm also delighted to say this is the largest class of women we've ever admitted to Berklee, over 42%. And the conservatory is over 50%. And I suspect we have students who also identify as non-binary. So we welcome you all. We're excited to have you here. The most popular instrument represented among you is the voice. Number 2, for the first time in the history of the institution, is piano. Piano just slightly overtook guitar, so you're sort of equally balanced, you guitar players and pianists. But we also have people who play the oud, the kanun, the quattro, and the lo chun, which is a Chinese mandolin. So if you don't know what those instruments are, another homework assignment is to go find someone who plays them and let them play it for you. And again, for the first time in our history, we have 10 students who play what we call the EDI, the electronic digital instrument. So the theme of today is tell your story, so I took it literally. So I'm going to tell you a very brief story of my life, so bear with me. I come from the Milky Way galaxy, as most of you do. We do have 3 faculty members who are certified intergalactic: George Garzone, Kenwood Denard, and Dave Fuzinski. Most of the rest of us come from the Milky Way. Here's our solar system, planet Earth, North America, United States. I'm from the state of Georgia. Any Georgians here? From a little town called Gainesville, Georgia, which is famous for at least claiming to be the chicken capital of the world. My grandmother bought me my first drum when I was a young man, which made me very happy and my mother very unhappy. I played in a lot of bands in middle school and high school, and this is me in my college pep band playing at a basketball game. This was me in my jazz fusion group, Cathexis, and these are our rejection letters from Elektra Asylum Records. The very famous A&R man, Bruce Lundvall, rejected us. Isn't that exciting, to be rejected by such a famous man? Here's our rejection from Arista Records. I then went off and I became a school teacher of chemistry, physics, and mathematics in a small high school in western Kenya, near the border of Uganda. I helped design a science laboratory which we built. My students and I built a solar cooker which would fry eggs with just reflected solar energy made out of materials we could buy in the local marketplace. We built a cistern out of local materials to capture rainwater because there was no running water in this village. We had a beautiful vegetable garden. In my spare time, I got a chance to climb Mount Kenya, the second highest peak in Africa. I had 3 pet goats. They got loose in my neighbor's garden and made me unpopular in the village for a while. I was also the coach of the soccer team. I'd never played soccer before. And that was probably reflected in the record of our soccer team. We were not very successful, but we had a lot of fun. I then came back to the United States, where I went to graduate school at Yale University and met my wife, Linda Mason. She's actually going to come to the next convocation, so some other folks will get to meet her. She and I promptly went off to the border of Cambodia and Thailand and worked in refugee camps for Cambodians who had fled the Khmer Rouge, who had ruled Cambodia between 1975 and 79. The Vietnamese invaded Cambodia and released a lot of refugees to the border of Thailand. Here we are doing a distribution of rice and seeds and other implements to people who had ox carts who came from within Cambodia. The situation was very dire. Malnutrition among children was over 50%. There had been so much devastation that younger people may not know about it, but most of your parents know that the Khmer Rouge were a brutal regime, and probably between a quarter and a third of the Cambodian people died during this short 5-year period. As I said, malnutrition was rampant. The camps themselves were very chaotic. There was no sanitation, no running water. There were militia from both the left-wing Khmer Rouge and the right-wing Khmer Sarai who were competing over running these refugee camps. In the camps, you would see people carrying around AK-47 assault rifles, rocket-propelled grenade launchers. So it was a very challenging situation, but very stimulating, very interesting. We found ways to entertain ourselves. Some friends brought me a pet snake. This is a python. It's not a poisonous snake, but it's a fearsome snake. The thing I did here that I'm probably most proud of is I got a grant from the United Nations to bring together the musicians who, under the Khmer Rouge, had been oppressed. In fact, the Khmer Rouge believed that people who were educated were corrupt, and musicians they put in that category. So musicians were actually put to death under the Khmer Rouge, and people put away their instruments, and for 5 years, very little music was played. So I gathered all these musicians together in a rice warehouse. We had a very good Nagra tape recorder, and we made a really high-quality recording of their music. We printed cassette tapes, and just like we distributed food and water, we distributed Khmer traditional music to the people of these refugee camps, and there was a blossoming of culture and enthusiasm that followed, and the musicians gained more confidence to come out and perform their music for one another. And happily, the beauty of a man-made crisis is if humans can get out of the way and actually lend a hand, things can get better very quickly, as they did. And Cambodia has been a relatively stable and healthy place ever since. The next stop on my life adventure was also with Linda. We were unmarried at the time, and we became the co-program directors of a Save the Children program in Sudan. Sudan is the largest country in Africa. It's the hottest country on earth. Khartoum, the capital, gets 2 inches of annual rainfall. It wouldn't exist as a city unless the Nile River flowed through there. This is what it looks like. We had great help from some Sudanese officials like this man, Hafiz Mohammed Mahmoud, who really guided us and helped us plan our program. And the program we planned was, unlike Cambodia, where everyone had come to refugee camps, which is not a good thing, because people bring illnesses that others have not been exposed to. There's very little sanitation. So often people get sicker from being in the refugee camp than they were before. So in Sudan, the concept was, let's take the food to the villages, keep the people in the villages. When the rain comes, they'll be there. They can plant their crops. In rural Sudan, people still travel by camel, much the way they did hundreds or thousands of years ago. This is a younger and thinner me. If you need to lose weight, I suggest you go work in a refugee camp in Sudan. We also had some fun in Sudan. This was me in a camel race. I lost, but I was going pretty fast. The next phase of my career was Linda and I did get married. We started a company called Bright Horizons, which manages child development centers for hospitals and universities and employers. And we also started a nonprofit that runs child care programs for homeless children. The idea was to put child care centers where people work so parents could commute with their children. We put a lot of emphasis on education. Here's some science being taught, so I have a tradition of science education everywhere I've gone. And that was a great success, and we loved it, and I did that for 16 years, and I did 6 collections of children's music, where I worked with a lot of Berklee faculty and professors. But after 16 years, I felt like I should do something else. My own kids had grown up, they were going off to college, and lo and behold, I got hired to be the president of Berklee. Thank you. So since I've been here, we have had a great run. This is an amazing place. We merged with Boston Conservatory, and that's been a really wonderful thing for both institutions. We started a campus in Valencia, Spain, that you've heard something about, and hundreds of students every year go study abroad there. We launched our Power Station campus in New York City, in the recording studio where Madonna, Bruce Springsteen, David Bowie made seminal recordings, where the Hamilton cast recording was done. It's now our campus in New York. We built the 160 building, the Ortner building on Ipswich Street. We started and built and grew our online school, which now serves 5,000 students around the world, the largest online music program on the planet. We have a career center that is second to none and is doing the most innovative things I know to help young artists sustain a career in the field they love. We started institutes like the Berklee Global Jazz Institute, Africana Studies, reflecting our formal commitment to the fact that it's the music of the African cultural diaspora that really we have built our curriculum around: blues and jazz, R&B, funk, soul, hip hop, pop music. That really is the essence of the college side of the house. We started the Institute for Creative Entrepreneurship to help young artists see themselves as entrepreneurs and pursue careers rather than just waiting for careers to come find them. The Berklee Popular Music Institute, American Roots Music Institute, the Silk Road Ensemble, collaboration with the Conservatory. And most recently, Terry Lynn Carrington has founded the Institute for Jazz and Gender Justice. We've recruited Chris Davis and now Linda O to the bass department. We have the most amazing lineup of people involved with this, like Tia Fuller, Joanne Burkeen, Terry Lynn. It's really on fire, and we're doing great work. This is my family. I did get married to Linda. The young woman on the left is my oldest daughter, Farrell. She is a nurse at NYU Langone Medical Center, and she's a painter. And in fact, she painted this image on the t-shirt. I keep trying to help her monetize her art, so I'm the guy who keeps making the t-shirts and selling them to people. My youngest daughter, Gracie, actually studied dance at the conservatory for a semester, but is on a more traditional academic path. And my son, Lucas, is in his final year of a PhD program across the river at MIT in mathematics. And he actually did 2 5-week programs at Berklee when he was a young man. So, okay, that's my story. And why is it the least bit relevant to you? So remember I told you I was a high school math teacher. When you're in high school, people tell you that the shortest distance between 2 points is what? A straight line. Well, that's true in a two-dimensional world. But we live in a three-dimensional world that has mountains, hills, valleys, rivers, and sometimes the shortest distance between 2 points is actually
the long and winding road that leads to your door.
So let me tell you that had I set out as a young man, your age, to be the president of Berklee College of Music, it never would have happened in a million years. All those things I did that seemed disconnected and somehow like tangents turned out to be leading me on my long and winding road to this job. Think about it. I was a musician. I recorded music. I wrote music. I produced music. I got rejected repeatedly. We did have a #1 song in Moscow, Idaho, and in Durham, New Hampshire. But it's a good thing I didn't have to live on the revenues from that. I taught school. I lived in many countries, so I understand how to work across cultures, which is a big part of this job. And I was an entrepreneur, so I know how to start something and make it work. And so when the board looked at me, they said, wow, you might be the right person for this job. So my message to you is, some people in the world are lucky enough to have an idea of what they want to do, and they get to go do it, and everything works, and the seas part, and they get to do that thing for the rest of their lives. But most of us, and almost all of us here at Boston Conservatory in Berklee, have to be prepared to follow that long and winding road. So my advice to you is do the work, learn and grow, follow your instincts, and I promise you that your long and winding road will take you to where you're destined to be. Welcome, and thank you so much.
Baby
please welcome to the stage Senior Vice President for Student Enrollment and Engagement, Dr. Betsy Newman.
Hi, everyone. Can we give another round of applause to Sweet Petunia? I just love them. I really do. So welcome to the Berklee community. As you know, the orientation theme this year is Tell Your Story. So I'm happy to share how music helps me tell my story and give you an example of how the music I love might inspire you to tell yours. This is a wall of albums in my office, and it helps me tell my story. Like I fell in love with Motown, dancing with my dad. I fell in love with this story about my mother when she brought my sister and me to see the movie Flashdance, thinking it was the next Saturday Night Fever or Fame, only to discover, while we were the only children in the theater, that Flashdance was about dancing in a strip club. I fell in love with that look of horror on my Nana's face when she saw me watching Madonna sing Like a Virgin while rolling around in a wedding dress on MTV. While I definitely fell in love with this amazing tracksuit, I fell out of love with my sister when she got Michael Jackson's Thriller for Christmas and I got Lionel Richie's Can't Slow Down. I fell in love with every kind of rock music when I heard my older brother playing Led Zeppelin in his bedroom, and he invited me in to listen. Then decades of music listening of every kind followed. That's me. And speaking of awesome rock music, I fell in love with my oversized flannel shirts when I went all in for Pearl Jam, Nirvana, Seattle grunge rock. I met my husband when wearing one of those oversized flannel shirts, so that all worked out okay for me. We've been together for 24 years and have 2 daughters, Moore and Maeve. They're actually in the audience, and I'm going to embarrass my kids. Where are you? Can you stand up, Damien, Moore, and Maeve? Stand up. Let everybody see you. There they are. Damien ditched the flannel shirt too, so that's good. But I did want to give them a shout out in front of all of you and thank them for being part of my story. And my assignment to all of you is give your families a shout out for them being part of yours before the end of today. So, for my family, music is a gateway to storytelling. This summer, the playlist included Motley Crue, REO Speedwagon, The Cars, The Clash, and Devo, prompting questions about what life was like for this girl circa mid-1980s. I know you must be thinking, really? Why were you listening to that music now? Well, here's why. Right. I know. Raise your hand if you are among the 41 million households to watch Stranger Things 3 when it was released on Netflix in July. Yeah. Me too, and them, my family. It's a great show with a great soundtrack. But for those not among the 41 million, here's a quick recap, and I promise no spoilers. In the mid-1980s, in rural Hawkins, Indiana, a government lab secretly researching the paranormal accidentally creates a portal to an alternate dimension called the Upside Down, a mirror image of Hawkins, but in its darkest and most evil form. Creatures from the Upside Down can now enter Hawkins and begin to abduct and eventually possess the minds of residents, threatening to take over the town and eventually the universe. A group of middle school friends befriend a girl named 11, who escaped the lab and has a superpower that can defeat the Upside Down with her mind. 11, Mike, Will, Dustin, Max, and Lucas, and their older siblings, set out to save Hawkins. Like my wall of albums, songs on the Stranger Things 3 soundtrack in all their iconic 1980s style helped me and my girls tell our stories in fun and surprising ways this summer. So it occurred to me that it might be fun if I use that soundtrack to help you tell your story. How does that sound? Yeah? You in with it? Okay, let's get started then. Welcome home to Berklee. Your journey starts here and you have what you need to begin. Your ride is set like a super cool BMX bike. Your pedals are poised, your brakes work, your chain is still on. You've got pegs on the wheels for friends you'll pick up. You see an open road with freedom to map your own route with your backpack of essentials. The horizon is clear-ish. So, you're ready to take off.
We're not scared to lose it all. Security cut through the wall. Future dreams we have to realize.
You can't see your final destination from where you stand right now, but you believe you'll get there. Realizing your future dreams feels within reach because you have prepared for the journey ahead.
Life's the same, I'm moving in stereo. Life's the same, except for my shoes. Life's the same, you're shaking like tremolo. Life's the same, it's all inside you.
So, you start your journey by doing what you know, what you are good at, following a familiar route. No surprise there. But before long, you feel stuck like Mike here. The rhythms in your life, while predictable and comfortable, become a bit monotonous. By moving with the sound, you realize you are not creating your own sound. So you decide to change more than your shoes. All right. You change more than your shoes and you start creating your own sound, kicking that BMX ride into high gear. But you hit a few bumps in the road that feel like a Scorpions heavy metal song, rocking you with a hurricane-like guitar solo. That guy Billy with the mullet-styled hair represents a formidable challenge that wants nothing more than for you to give up and go back.
Should I stay or should I go now? If I go, there will be trouble. And if I stay, it will be double.
So come on and let me know, does this formidable challenge win? Okay, I'm a little nervous. Let me try that again. Or you're in trouble. So come on and let me know, does that formidable challenge win? No! Do you go back? No, of course not. You decide to stay on the journey and alter your route.
I can't fight this feeling any longer. And yet I'm still afraid to let it flow.
Okay. So new routes can be a little scary, like that Demogorgon. I mean, 11 looks terrified, even though she has a superpower to defeat it with her mind. Fear paralyzes your superpower, which in your case is your ability to express your art. So you decide to let the fear flow.
When a problem comes along, you must whip it before the cream sets out too long. You must whip it when something's going wrong. You must whip it. Now whip it.
Into shape. And like Dustin, If a problem comes along, you can whip it good. No challenge or fear will stand in your way. Just like hairspray from a Farrah Fawcett aerosol can, you can project your strength through your own voice with your own sound. This is the final destination of your journey.
Though nothing will drive us away, how we can be heroes just for one day, how we can be us.
So I'd like to leave you with your own Stranger Things at Berklee style wall of albums, so that it might help you tell your story. Inspired by 11, the middle school girl who saves her friends, her community, and the universe with the superpower that is her mind. I wish you the best of luck on your journey ahead, and remember, Berklee is your home, sweet home. Believe you can realize your future dreams. Don't move with the sound, create your own sound, and rock that hurricane back. Stay, don't go, let the fear flow. Whip it, all of it. Be a hero by being you, and use your unique superpower, your voice, your art, to be 11. Good luck, everyone.
please welcome to the stage Executive Director of Boston Conservatory at Berklee, Kathy Young.
Good afternoon, everybody. It's great to be here with all of you on this very special day, which marks the beginning of your careers at Boston Conservatory at Berklee and Berklee College of Music. For each of you, this is a profound moment in your life, one that you've worked toward and maybe dreamed of for a long time, the beginning of a very important new chapter in your story. You're all here because you have a deep love for music or dance or theater and a desire for your art to be at the center of your life. That feeling is one I share with you and which has shaped my life. For most of my career, I've been a working artist, a dancer, a choreographer, and a teacher. I'm just at the start of year 3 as executive director of the conservatory, but I've been making dances for over 37 years. So I thought today I'd share a little of my story with you, and my story is told through dance. I'd like to share 4 short clips of my choreography. The first is from a piece called Journey Sanctuary. My collaborator on this project was Robert Robinson, who built his career on his belief in the power of gospel music to cross boundaries of race, ethnicity, and religion. He created a multi-ethnic and spiritually diverse gospel choir. In this clip, you'll see my dance company performing with his choir, and I'm the one in the pink.
Now listen, we have a story to tell you all tonight. And I know you're ready to hear this story, right? But before we start telling the story, I think we need to party just a little bit. Are you all ready to party out there? Well, come over here with the table spread and the peace of the Lord going on. Well, come over here with the table is spread and the peace of the Lord. Well, come over here with the table is spread and the peace of the Lord is going on. Well, come over here with the table is spread and the peace of the Lord.
Yeah, somehow my hair is a different color now. I don't know how that happened, but. So the next clip I'd like to share with you is from a piece called Blues Suite to the music of Otis Redding. And I made, Otis Redding. And I made this piece with my first husband, Chris Aiken. The piece is about love, the hard work that love can be, and the bittersweet experience of recognizing that sometimes, no matter how hard you try, you can't keep it together. Now, I kind of gave away the ending of that story by telling you that Chris was my first husband. But we're still good friends, don't worry. So here we are about 20 years ago.
I don't know what you're doing to me, baby, but it sure is good to me. Whatever you do wrong, honey, I don't care, baby, because you are so good to me. I'm gonna keep loving you, woman, for 20 more years. After that, I'm going for 40, 'cause I've got my will to try. I've been loving you, woman, too long.
I don't know if we have anybody in the house studying contact improvisation, but if you are, that's what that was coming out of, yes? So the next clip I'd like to show is from a piece that I made called Zero Cool, and it's set to the music of Duke Ellington. This particular piece is from his Far East Suite, which Ellington wrote in response to the music that he heard when he was on tour in India. And for me, this piece of choreography is about my love of Ellington's music and sort of trying to capture the life force and the wit and the sensuality of that music in a piece of choreography. And I also wanted to show women just reveling in themselves. You all are just an awesome audience. So the last thing I'd like to show you is part of a piece I made with my friend Niles Ford. Niles was a lead dancer with Bill T. Jones. We met when we were your age, and we danced together in a company. And then our careers took us in different directions, but we stayed in touch. And when we were in our late 40s, we decided to make a duet together. For us, this duet was about what life had taught us since we last danced together in our 20s, an understanding of our own vulnerability and the awareness of how fleeting our time here actually is. What we could not know when we made this dance is that it would be our last dance. Niles passed away suddenly, about 6 months after this performance, and my performing career ended with an injury, also right about that same time. And I don't share that to make you sad, but to tell you that I'm so grateful that we danced that last dance together, that we seized that moment and we made something beautiful together and told our story. So here's Niles and I about 10 years ago. Thank you so much for letting me share some of my story with you. I cannot wait to get to know each of you and all of you over the coming months and years, and to witness your stories unfolding through your music, your dance, and your theater. And my hope for you is that you seize your moment and your day, dig into your time here, and remember that you are the only person in the world who can tell your story, and the world is waiting to hear it. Thank you so much.
Please welcome to the stage Senior Vice President for Academic Affairs and Provost, Dr. Larry Simpson.
Good afternoon. I really appreciated what Mina Wyman just performed for us. It was quite compelling and moving. It was fantastic. I am so very happy to welcome you to Berklee on behalf of the nearly 1,000 faculty who await you on Monday, September 9. I also welcome you on behalf of the deans and department chairs and the many other staff in academic affairs who are here to see that your story has the best chance for success. These people are the best at what they do, and I applaud your decision to enroll and matriculate at the college and the conservatory. Let me give you a case in point. I'm a creature of habit, so as I exited the train coming here today, I made my ritual stop at the coffee shop pavement, which some of you will get to know very well. I do that every day, and I ordered my hot mocha. As I was waiting for the coffee to be made, a parent who is sitting in the audience right now asked if I was a jazz musician. I responded no, but I told her I was the provost at Berklee. She is here with her daughter, who is a bassist. Her daughter was here this summer and participated in a program with Terry Lynn Carrington, whom you've heard Roger talk about. Terry Lynn is the artistic director of the Institute of Jazz and Gender Justice. She is a 3-time Grammy Award winner. And next week, she's sitting in the drum seat in the Seth Meyers television program, so you can check her out next week. When she said that her daughter was a bassist, I told her that we just hired Linda O, whom you also heard Roger mention, as a full-time member of the bass faculty. And she was stunned. Linda O is quite brilliant. And as I have said, we have some of the world's finest musicians, choreographers, dancers, and theater artists in the world. And lucky for you and us, we have a lot of them. A brief word to the parents, grandparents, other family members, and guardians gathered today. Please know that we have a vigorous liberal arts curriculum, which makes up 1/3 of the credits required for graduation. We believe that a deep engagement with math and science and philosophy and psychology and history and communications make artists better artists. These disciplines and the required deep engagement and discussion of the issues they generate help open the artistic mind to greater possibilities. And this engagement is really needed perhaps more today than in recent memory. Berklee is an amazing place, and students, I salute those who have generously supported your dreams. Now, today I'm going to break with one of my own traditions, and I'm going to offer some advice. Historically, I would stand here and not give any advice because I thought you'd been given a lot of advice by a lot of different people, and so I would refrain. But today I felt compelled to offer just a bit more of advice to you. Be balanced. Being balanced does not mean to smash down your passion and commitment to your craft. It means to be centered in your passion and craft. Being blinded by your passion leads to arrogance, and the beauty of your art falls away in arrogance. You will know difficult days, but there are lessons to be learned in the darkness and despair if you don't fight mightily against them. You will see the highs and lows are but different sides of the same coin. A few decades ago, I was involved in a terrible motorcycle accident. I was out of work for 3.5 months. A good bit of that time, I was in excruciating pain. And so I was taking heavy doses of pain medication. But eventually I found that these pain pills were not very helpful, so I stopped taking the medication. I simply accepted the pain. Did I hurt? Yes, but not as bad. I did not fight it, and I came to realize that being centered and balanced between pleasure and pain set me free. So students, let your art and career pursuits be fueled by your being centered. If you can achieve that, you will be, if not invincible, you will be a much better person to be around. Enjoy the semester, and I look forward to seeing you out and about this wonderful campus and enjoy this epic venture that is Berklee. Thank you.
Once again, please welcome the Marcus Prince Experiment.